Hello there, welcome back to Jennie Designs with Paper. Thank you for stopping by my channel today. I am working in an art journal, so get comfy, let's get crafty. This is my 8" by 8" square art journal that I use when I'm creating collage style art journal pages with Stamperia papers. I am going to be using this Cosmos paper pad, and I have selected this background paper that already has all the detail work done and this owl image to create an art journal page. I've pulled out a purple archival ink pad. I have a piece of light purple embossed vellum, and I have a whole bunch of leftover die cuts that are sitting on the tray on my desk. I have some greenery. I have a green wreath. I have some feathers that have been cut out of silver, like a matte silver foil paper. I'm not exactly sure where this is going. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I just sat down to make. I didn't plan other than to pick my image and my background paper. This, like I said, this is an 8 by 8" journal or art book, sketchbook, art journal. Oh my goodness, I can't even think of right words. I am slipping a piece of scrap paper underneath the page I will be working on. And the first step in my page is to trim this paper down. Now, the art journal is 8 by 8, but that coil takes off about 1/2 inch. And I didn't think about that. So there is, my margin here is not awesome. I'm just throwing that out there. My margin here is not awesome. I am trimming this paper down to 7 by 7 inches because I want to create a border on my art journal page. And that's what I was talking about, my margin. I probably should have cut less off the width than I did off the height because, I didn't take into account the coil. But whatever, we're just going to move out because there's no such thing as errors. It's all just opportunities for creating some other image. Because I did cut this paper down on two sides, that little bit of distressed look is missing from the right and the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back with watering can, there we go, watering can, archival ink. And I'm going to speed through this because, I want to. This is a sponge blending tool. Oh my goodness, a foam blending tool. There we go. I cannot think of the name of any of the things right now. My mind has gone blank. So once I have those edges all kind of distressed and edged and faded in, it kind of blends in with the text and the other distressing that's going on there. I am going to put my scrap paper back in between the pages in my art journal because I'm going to create the margin. And this is just a direct to paper technique. I am taking this archival ink pad and I'm just rubbing this along the edges of my art journal page. So this pattern paper and the owl in particular have this kind of bright purple as a very subtle, not really awesomely visible independently background color. And I wanted to elicit some of those purples just a little bit. And there's also some teals and other things going on here, but the purple is what I was trying to pull out. Now I am going to take a pair of thin, fine, sharp scissors and fussy cut this owl out. This is not how fast I cut. I promise you, I sped this up. The trick to fussy cutting is to hold your scissors in your dominant hand and keep them pointed the same direction and turn the paper. When you do that, you have a better than average shot of getting a good clean cut. I did go back in with that watering can archival ink and go over the edges of the owl. Gives them a little bit of depth and dimension, also hides that white core edge that I don't love. I am going to pull out this Yoo-Hoo craft collage glue stick again and see how that works. We're not adding any water medium. We're just slapping the papers together today. So I am going to put a ton of glue on the edge of this pattern paper. It is a ton of glue. It is a ton of glue. And then I am going to put this down onto my art journal page. Just inside that purple border I have created with my direct to paper technique. I have glue all over my fingers, and that's how come I've got my hand all curled up like I no longer know how to use all of my digits, but that is what it is. So now I need to make my focal image pop. And you can see the owl is fine, but it doesn't, it just is blah. So the first thing I did was put that little embossed vellum behind it and add some of that greenery. Kind of sort of like that. The green is not the right shade, which I think is why it's not working for me. I pull out those feathers, which I don't hate them, but it still is not enough of a pop. I pulled out that wreath, and yeah, it's just not working. On the back side of that paper that had the owl is this little kind of corner piece that has some purple vines and a little bit of this kind of aqua-y color. So I decided to go ahead and cut out that little corner, kind of like a little photo mat or whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to ink around that with that same watering can archival ink. And I am going to mat it on a piece of purple cardstock. Now this purple cardstock is just something from my stash, but it is nearly the same color as that majestic violet archival ink. And I'm going to give it the smallest, thinnest mat, but this will pull those two pattern papers apart and give them some definition. And it starts to create a cluster of a framework for my focal image to sit on. That's the only words I can use to describe what's going on because the words are not coming from my brain to my mouth. We're just gonna, yeah. Okay, so I'm still set on using this purple embossed vellum. I don't know why I was so intent on it because it's purple. I don't know. I did think about maybe backing that with the pattern paper as well, but that kind of eliminates the whole theory of vellum there. So, and then it covers up the back, that paper that I really enjoy. And yeah, I hung on to that vellum piece as long as I could. The one thing I love about this little piece of pattern paper that I, from the back side of the owl, is that it has that circle that's kind of like a moon, and owls are nocturnal. I did contemplate adding some purple washi tape that was sitting on my desk from some other project. Ultimately, this is what I ended up with. I ended up removing the vellum because I just could not, it just was not working for me. I wanted it, but it was not working for me. This die set is where I got the greenery. So I pulled out this die. This is a Momenta die from Hobby Lobby. And I cut another one of those wreaths out of a kind of a teal, dusty teal kind of color that matches that kind of aqua teal color that's in the pattern paper. And I cut it in half. Sorry. And I'm going to use that instead of that dark green greenery, and that kind of pulls things together for me. Now, I didn't cut it in half, I just cut it into two pieces. Now no longer wants to lay like it was actually once a circle, but whatever. We're getting there. So I am going to take the two pieces, I'm going to kind of nest them together and put the owl on the tree stump on the bottom of this greenery. I've decided I like that. I am going to not remove that little card though, and add a little bit of glue behind the bottom, add a little bit of glue behind the top. I was afraid I would not get it back down where I had placed it. And even now looking at it, it is not exactly where I was thinking. I was thinking more toward that bottom right and leaving that left-hand side clear for the word stickers I'm going to add. But, decisions were made. We'll just leave it at that. I am using my liquid glue, my Tombow Mono Glue, to put just a little tiny thin bead of glue on the stem of this vine or these little greenery. I'm going to kind of swirl them around, try to remind this paper that once upon a time it was cut into a circle. But, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the second piece of that wreath so that I can add it down as well. I am not going down each leaf. I'm just going down the stem of the, the vine. I'm okay with it being not entirely adhesive. It did stick to my gluey fingers like mad, and I had to use my scissor tip to push it down because, gluey fingers, liquid glue, we're all just frenemies. So the only thing I'm still struggling with is that it kind of looks like this owl is just floating in midair. There's nothing grounding it because that tree stump is just there. So I'm trying to ignore that. I want to adhere this owl with foam tape, 3-dimensional tape. And I have these foam squares that I got at Hobby Lobby. Now, again, decisions were made, bad decisions, because why on earth would I use 9,425 foam squares when I have a giant roll of foam tape in my craft room? Yeah, I don't know. But whatever, I did. I removed all the adhesive backing, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to my art journal page. So I am low-key kind of loving that owl. He's kind of got a look on his face like, what is going on? And that's kind of how I'm feeling right now about the world in general. What is going on? So I pulled out my Tim Holtz Chit Chat stickers, and there are a number of phrases that I feel like kind of go together. And I had looked through them, and I'm trying to remember where they were on the page. So I'm just pulling off the ones that I like, that have that I felt kind of went together. And they are: believe in yourself. Today is full of possibilities. You are capable of becoming more than you realize. Be open to whatever comes next. And very obviously, these are varying lengths. They're not all going to fit in that left-hand column, as I had initially kind of thought maybe I would. That's how I kind of figured I would do things. But whatever, we're going to make it work, because that's how we roll. We just make it work. We're going to go all Tim Gunn and make it work. I am under no illusions whatsoever that I am going to be able to line these up in a straight column down the left-hand side. Also, some of them are going to need to be trimmed. So I'm putting them in place-ish, like in the order I want them. And then I will go through and shuffle them to the sides so that they look like they're intentionally not in a straight column on the left-hand side, because there's just not a chance. There is not a chance I am lining up those word labels in a straight line. Like, look at it right now. It is already full on going crooked. And you can see it. It's so obvious. It is so bad. It is so bad. So what I decided to do was gently pull up every other one and move them slightly to the right. I did make sure they were more or less straight horizontally, but with them not being exactly lined up on the left vertically, whether they were perfectly straight horizontally became irrelevant. So that is the gist of my art journal page. I am still kind of fidgeting with these text strips, but I don't know, I'm kind of drawn to this owl and the purple that is very subtly in his feathers. The one thing I'm not loving at the very top of that greenery is that it's covering up those purple leaves on that pattern paper, which I loved. So I'm just going to do a little bit of paper surgery. I'm going to cut it off, and then I'm going to glue it right down here on the bottom. My glue stick is still open, so I just stuck a little bit of glue stick right on the bottom of that vine, and boom, Bob's your uncle. There you go. I just like that purple vine up at the top corner. I don't know. I'm stuck on the purple today. I am going to go ahead and sign this page in the left-hand margin. This is a very fine nib pen, which is why you can't see my signature in real life. It is there, and it's done. I think all in all, this page only took me about half an hour to do. It was not a super long page, but it was a super fun page. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I hope you enjoyed watching this collage art journal. I have a couple of other videos here for you to watch that I think you might enjoy. I've also added a subscribe button. If you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you did. And I hope you have a great day.